Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Monica Lecole Show. I am your girl, Monica Lecole, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend to tune in every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, my drink for tonight, y'all know I keep me a good mocktail. My drink for tonight is a pineapple orange dream, and it is pineapple orange juice, and I have some orange candy corn cotton candy on top. Oh, that is really good. That cotton candy is tasty. All right, y'all. So we're gonna jump right on in. Our topic for tonight is who came up with the saying that your kids are no longer your concern once they turn 18. Like once they turn 18, you don't have to worry about them. You just got to get them to 18 and they're no longer your concern. Like who came up with that saying? I wonder where it came from. As the kids say, that saying is cap. Nothing about it is realistic. And I don't know why they say that, because I'm going to be honest. Once my children turned 18 and got to the age to where they could kind of move around, and of course, yes, they had to check in and things like that. But I'm just saying, the older your kids get, the more concern you have. I don't know who came up with that saying, where it came from. It's been around for years and years. I remember hearing it when I was younger. I remember hearing it when I had kids. And I'm just like, who came up with that? Because that is so not true. Ever since my children have been older, they're more of a concern to me. You know what I'm saying? I worry about them a little more, because they're able to move around. All we can do as parents is pray and hope that the things that we have instilled in them, um, that they listen to. The only thing we could do is just pray that that's how they move, that they carry themselves a certain type of way. But it's always gonna be a concern. Like I always tell my kids, I don't care how old y'all get, y'all will always be a concern of mine, because y'all are mine and I love y'all. Age doesn't change how you feel. Like I'm 42 and my mother will call my phone. Let me not pick up that phone. She's calling back. And if she called back and I don't answer, or she feels like I should be answering, she's gonna call my daughter's phone. Like it doesn't matter what age you get, they'll always be a concern of yours. So I had to learn that they will always be a concern of mine, but I also had to realize that they aren't me. So when your kids do certain things or they make certain decisions that you're not okay with, um, you just automatically feel like, for me, if my son moved out of state a couple of years ago, and when he first moved, I was a wreck. Like for a week straight, I cried because I was so sad about him leaving, because it was just like, we're such a close knit family. And I was just like, dang, my baby is leaving. And even though he's my oldest child, he's my quiet child. He kind of stays to himself. He doesn't really deal with a lot of people. So I just was like, wow, like he's about to move to a whole nother state. I don't know what his environment is going to be. I don't know, these people. And like, even though we don't know everybody in the state we live in, we've been here forever. So, you just get comfortable with where you are. And when it's something new or somewhere you didn't even think of them moving to, it's just a concern. And I mean, I'm sure that's the same way with people who have children that go to college. It's like they're no longer going to be under your roof. And even if they're grown and under your roof, you still can kind of watch how they move. Once they move out of state, it's like you can talk to them, but you truly don't know what they do constantly throughout the day. I mean, and even when they're home with you, you don't know what they're doing out the day. I mean, out throughout the day. But out of state is just different. I think for me, I just felt like it was so many hours, and like if he needs me, I can't get to him. So it was that type of concern, like I just wasn't used to him being that far away. So initially it was hard. It was really, really hard for me until I started to see his growth outside of me. And he even told me, like, mama, I needed to move away. Like I needed to get out here and do certain things on my own, because you're so hands on with us, like, and not in a bad way, but I had to realize sometimes it's not bad, but sometimes kids do need you to kind of back up and let them do their own thing. And sometime when other parents haven't shown up the way they should, I feel like the parents that are constantly there, we just want to make sure we're not missing anything. We just want to make sure they're not missing any love. We just want to make sure that they know they're loved in every single way, even if the other party involved doesn't show up the way they need to. We, like, for instance, I've been called a helicopter mom, and I'm okay with being a helicopter mom. I've been that since my children were born, and I'm okay with that because I would much rather them me get on their nerve from bothering them than me have them in pain because they feel like I don't care, you know? So I'm okay with that title, but as they've gotten older, I realize that I have to step back a little bit because I have to allow them to live their lives. So him moving out of town, it was hard for me. And like I said, I cried for a week straight, but even after that, it took me a minute to just adjust. Um and realize that it's his life and he has to make those decisions. And all I can do is pray and hope that the things that I have instilled in him, that he, conducts himself the way that I've raised him to. That's all I could hope for. And the same for my daughter. I can just hope that what I have instilled in them, they conduct themselves in that way, because I had to realize, like, they're not me. Sometimes I feel like I am on them about certain things, or if they make certain mistakes, I'm like, don't do this, or don't do that, or that don't sound right to me, or why are you doing this, or I'm questioning everything. And my son told me one day, like, mama, if you don't agree with it, if it's something you don't agree or you don't know about, or it's just instantly something where you're like, you shouldn't do that, you instantly go into, no, I don't like that, and I don't. He's like, I'm my own person and I have to make certain decisions on my own. Like, I have you here to support and I'm grateful for that. But if it's something that I want to do, even if I attempt to do this and it doesn't work out, I want to do it. Like, I don't want you to feel like, if you don't know right off top what's going on, that it's a no for you. And I had to sit down and think about that. And I'm like, seriously. He's like, I would much rather try something and it not work out than just not try. And then after I stopped talking to him, after I got off the phone with him, I thought about it, like, damn, that's how I move. Like, he's only moving the way he's seen me move. He's seen me attempt to do things. And even if they don't work out, it's like I tried, and I could put that behind me and say, I attempted that. It didn't work out. I'm going to let it go. And even there are times where I've invested in things, lost money. There are times where I tried things that didn't work out, but I kept going. And I wouldn't have wanted my mother to be there like, no, 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 don't do this, or that don't sound right to me, or don't do this. Of course, if it's something with his safety, he listens, and I'm constantly telling him, things like that. But I mean, just certain things in general that he might be doing. And if I'm not familiar with it, or if I've never heard of it, or if I just don't have enough knowledge in it, I'm instantly like, no, I don't know. And it's just a concern of a mother. But I had to realize that he's grown and I have to allow him to make his own decisions. I can't live his life for him. And another thing, some things he has to do on his own and learn that it doesn't work. Because if I'm just going to navigate through life and control every step he makes, he's not going to learn anything. So he told me, he moved away. And not only because he feels like I'm on him, just he wanted to create his own life outside of me. He knows I'm here. He knows if anything went on and he needed to come back home, he can, but he wanted to get out here and create his own life. So as a man, I'm grateful for that. Initially, I didn't understand it because, again, that was my baby. And I'm just like, you are moving out of town. I just didn't understand it, because it was right out of high school. And it was just hard for me. I'm going to be honest. It was hard for me to just let him go like that. But I'm so grateful he moved. He's been through a few different things, and to just watch his resilience and just watch how he's just going through things, and he just, like, he coming out on top, and he keeps this mindset of, like, I'm going through this for a reason, or mama, this could be happening for a reason, and trying to stay as positive as he can, and navigating through these different things. And I'm watching him grow as a man, and I'm so grateful, y'all. Like, I'm so grateful to watch my baby grow. It is just an amazing thing to see, and it just warms my heart, and it makes me feel good as a mother, and it makes me feel like you've instilled certain things in him, and that's how he moves. That don't mean he ain't gonna make mistakes. That doesn't mean that every decision he makes is gonna be perfect. It just means that he's human, and he's just trying to navigate and find his way in this world, and he's trying to learn how to do it as a man. So I'm so grateful for that. And that's even to my daughter. I watch her and how she moves and how she navigates with different things, and her her dreaming, and y'all, she's so much like me, y'all. Like, when I was her age, it was so hard for me to work for people, and I watch my baby, and it's so hard for her. But she's a new makeup artist. I watch her, and I watch her invest in herself. I watch her with her jewelry. She makes these different bracelets, and I watch her how she's selling her jewelry, and how she helped me with my business. Like, she literally helped me birth my business when I had my shoe boutique. Like, she helped me with it. Like, we built that together from the ground up. So I see that spirit in her. But I watch her, y'all, and it's so funny because I just, like, probably recently started talking to her about it maybe a year ago, on how it was so hard for me to work for people. Because initially I didn't want to tell her that, because I just didn't want to quit jobs, or just, I didn't want her to feel like, oh, well, my mama did it and my mother is okay. I just wanted her to truly have her own mind to do the things that she wanted to do. And once I seen how she was moving, I was like, I'm gonna have a conversation with her and let her know, because I see she's not lazy. Initially, I didn't want to speak to her about it being hard for me to work for people when I was younger, because I just wanted to see how she was. I always say you have to parent kids differently. You might have one child that's real laid back, then you have one child that's a little rowdy, and that's how my son is very laid back, and my daughter has always been just very extra and over the top and things like that. So with her, I just was like, I didn't want to tell her right away that it was hard for me to work for people, because I wanted to see if just how she was. So once I noticed she wasn't a lazy child, once I noticed she will get up and work, she will get up and hustle, she will get up and do what she needs to do for herself. But this is a struggle for her having a boss. Then I had that conversation with her. Like, I felt the same way, Stink. Like, it was hard for me as well. Like, it was hard, it was hard. And at a very young age, I knew I wanted to work for myself. And so I watch her, and she's working, but I know her makeup is what she truly wants to do. And I know God is going to allow her to be an amazing makeup artist. I know we're going to be traveling, and she going to be doing celebrities. But like I tell her now, I just feel like in this season, maybe that's not what you need to be doing right now. You keep working on perfecting your craft, and nothing can be perfect, but you just keep working on being better in your craft. So that way, once he's ready to place you there to do it full time, you're prepared to do that. You know what I'm saying? While you in the background and you working for people, and you selling your jewelry, and you doing different things, and she has clients. It's not a constant flow like daily, but she does have clients. So like I tell her, while you have those clients and you're doing what you need to do to get better at what it is that you love in your heart, that's your passion, because she's always loved this since she was a kid. You keep working on that. Even with you working for people or whatever you're doing, you always make time for what you are passionate about, and you're gonna get there. And I know she is, because I see it for her. But I say all that to say, I just speak to them differently, and I had to realize that I had to allow them to live their life. All I can do is pray that, and they have to make mistakes to learn. As parents, we just pray that whatever the mistakes are, they aren't too big for them to get out of. You know what I'm saying? They aren't mistakes that are gonna harm them mentally or physically. You know what I'm saying? They aren't mistakes that are gonna be life changing to where they can't come back from it. We just want them to be safe in every way, and we want them to make the best decisions. But we're human, and we have to know that they're not gonna always make the best decisions. So that thing of, once a kid turns 18, you no longer have to worry about them. I just think that is the silliest thing, that whoever made it up is it was no reason for it, because it's not the truth. um And I also had to apologize to them because I feel like I project sometimes. Because when I was their age, there were certain things that I did that I wouldn't want them to do, you know? So when you start parenting, you look at things differently. You look at things that you did when you were younger and you realize that wasn't okay. So then when you have kids, it's like, you're on them about everything because it's like, I don't want them to make this type of decision. I don't want them to do this. I don't want them to do that. You know what I'm saying? And we have to step back and just pray over them each and every day. And I also had to realize that they aren't me. You know, when I was their age, I had two kids by the time I was 22 years old. I had two kids. You know, when I was my daughter age, I had a baby. So they are not me. My children don't have children. They aren't me. So I had to realize that I can't try to parent them based off of my mistakes and be on them and try to make them like, no, don't do this and don't do that. You know, they aren't me. They aren't. They are not doing the things that I was doing. You know, they are not me. They're making my son is out of state. There is no way I would have got out of high school and moved straight out of town. No way. So he's even stronger than me in that area. And I'm a person that take risks, but I'm gonna be honest, right out of high school, I wouldn't have moved out of town. So I'm just proud of him for that. I am proud of him for even having the courage to get up and say, I am going to move to this state. None of my family is here, but I'm about to get up and do this because this is what my heart is telling me. And he's been there for 2 years and he can come home if he wants, but that is where he feels happy at. So I realized as long as my child is safe, mentally, physically, emotionally healthy, and he is safe, I am okay as long as I can talk to him every single day and visit him and see him and know that my baby is okay. If he is happy out of state, then be happy because that's all I want is for them to be happy, healthy, able to care for themselves, take care of themselves. That's all you want as a parent is to know that your children are okay in every way. So if being out of state is what makes him happy, great. My daughter, um, she's me though, you know, and I'm sorry I keep jumping around, but she's me. She's literally me. Like that's my daughter. You know what I'm saying? She is me. I watch how it's hard for her and I laugh to myself because I'm like, girl. And then it may I might have a lot to do with it as well because again she helped me build my business when I started in 2017. She was helping me with my business and then I ended up giving her her own room inside of my boutique. So then she had her own room where she was selling sunglasses and jewelry and bracelets and hats and different things, you know. So I started her early being an entrepreneur at a very early age, you know. So I started her in that early. So she watched me. Then, on top of watching me, she helped me build it. And then she had her own thing. So I could see why it would be an issue for her to work for someone as well. But like I said, I apologized to them both last week, just telling them, like, I'm sorry. Y'all aren't me. Like, I'm projecting the things that I did as a teenager onto y'all, and I can't do that. Like, that's not fair to y'all. I'm not even allowing y'all to really live y'all life because if y'all do one little thing that I'm signing, I'm like, hold on, don't do that. Because you know what I'm saying? Like, of course, if it's anything that I feel like is going to harm them, I'm going to tell them regardless, you know. But what I realize, I can't feel like every step of the way I have to like monitor everything they do because doing that, they're not going to have their own experiences in life and they have to. As long as I pray over them and know that they are okay, I have to allow them to get out here and navigate in this world and find their way. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to touch on that because, you know, like I had spoke with both of them the other day about this, text on this text, just apologizing to them about me doing that. You know what I'm saying? And they know I love them and they know I'm a helicopter mom. And my son will tell me in a minute, mama, ooh, sometimes you be a lot, but I understand. And that's all I want them to do is to understand. You know, I just want them to know I love them and their mental, physical, and emotional health is what is my concern and is in their safety. And you know, and just knowing that they are okay. You know what I'm saying? When I was growing up, I felt like if something went on with me, it was a bigger deal than other people. You know what I'm saying? And I just felt that. I felt like people can be going through the same thing I'm going through, but if I'm going through it, it's a bigger thing. And I somehow felt like it came from my upbringing and the things that my parents did for me. I really felt like that. So to be in this position where I'm kind of giving my children the lifestyle that my parents gave me, you have this concern in the back of your mind of like, I hope they don't get out here and do anything wrong, or I hope they don't do this, or I hope they don't do that, because you honestly are carrying this trauma that you had from things that you were experiencing. And if it's your kids, it's going to be a bigger deal than if somebody else's child did it. Like those are the things that we carry through life that we realize, even if I felt that way, you can't put that onto them. It's not their fault. They weren't the ones that did it to you. So don't transfer that to them. So I had to realize God got them and they gonna be okay, just like he had me. Just like he had me. Even if things went on, he still made sure I was okay. And he made sure everything that was, even when I made mistakes, he made sure that I was okay. But I learned from them. So certain stuff I knew, yeah, I ain't doing that again. But I was able to experience and I learned, and it wasn't anything that truly harmed me. So it's one of them things where it's like, I will always speak up and say if I don't feel right about something, or if something doesn't sit right with me. But I don't have to say it in a negative way. I can always voice my concern, but I still have to allow them to live their lives. They're young adults, and they have to find their way in this world outside of me. You know what I'm saying? They know I'm here to support them and love them and be here for them, but they still have to find their way outside of me. So I just wanted to speak to that. I don't know why that was a saying. I don't know who came up with it. It has been around for many, 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 many years, but I just truly don't understand it, because at 18 years old, I graduated high school at 17 and turned 18 that summer. Baby, had no clue what's going on. So if my parents would have put me out at 18, I would have been so lost. I would have. And I'm just being honest. So like, even in your 20s, you're still trying to navigate life and figure out things. Sometimes your 30s. Shit, I feel like I started over at 40. I literally started over at 40. So this is a whole nother version of me that I am creating. You know what I'm saying? So to throw a child out at 18, I don't understand that. I'm not trying to judge anybody or anything like that, but I don't. That's just something I don't understand. Because at 18, they have no clue of what's going on. You know? Like, my children can be here. I want them to stay here. I wanted my son to stay here, but he chose to move out of town. But I wanted them to stay here and get themselves together. I'm not saying stay here till you 30, but if you need to stay here a few years after you get out of high school to find your way, get you some money saved, and put yourself in a better position before you jump out here in this world, yes. Yes, you can do that. Yes, and you're gonna have responsibilities. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna ask them to pay any bills in my house, but I will. You're gonna pay your cell phone bill, or just your own hygiene products and things like that. Yeah, you're gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're technically a young adult, so you're gonna do that. But I just feel like, and even with doing things like that, we're just teaching them responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was their age and I was home, I didn't have to pay bills. So I didn't do that, but I did have my own responsibilities of paying my cell phone bill, buying my own hygiene, clothes, things like that. Okay, of course, if I needed some money and I needed something, my parents would help me. But even with them doing that, I felt like that was them trying to teach me responsibility, and I appreciate that. And that's the same that I do with them. Of course, like I said, my son's out of town, so he has bills, and but my daughter, with her still living here. So I just feel like there is a way for you to teach them things without throwing them out there to the wolves, because the world is wicked. And releasing them at 18 and them not knowing what the hell is going on, I just don't think that's fair to them. And then you have some children that have been paying bills and doing stuff early. So I guess I can't speak to every situation, but I'm gonna speak to my situation. At 18, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't understand where that came from. But yeah, so um I just wanted to speak to that because again, I feel like I don't I just feel like as parents, we can fall short sometime with communication. We can fall short sometime with um projecting what we've experienced or what we've done onto our kids. And these kids are not even set up like that. They not even like us. Man, I'll be looking at them. I'll be like, even talking to my son or just looking at my daughter. I'm like, they are not like us. We were totally different. You know what I'm saying? We were different. These kids are spoiled. They are just not like us. And like we were spoiled. That's the thing. But I don't know. I just feel like their spoiled is different than our spoiled. It's something that's different. I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe y'all could comment and let me know, but it's just different. So I just wanted to speak to that because I had a really healthy conversation with both of my children. I'm so grateful that they communicate with me. I'm so grateful that they are open to talk to me. If they feel like I said something wrong, if they feel like they didn't like my response to something, anything that's on their mind about something I said or did, they communicate that with me. And I thank them so much for us having I've always allowed them to be open with communication. I never made them feel like they can't say how they feel to me. I never, dismissed their feelings if they were feeling away or they were having a bad day, or I never made the fly. What you having a bad day for? I got to pay the bill. I don't say those type of things to them. And I didn't say that to them when they were kids because I always allowed them to understand that their feelings mattered to me. And I always wanted them to be open with their communication. I wanted them to talk to me and let me know how they were feeling. I never wanted them to feel scared to come to me and talk to me about anything. You know what I'm saying? And of course, even with that, there are some things they may not talk to you about, but I knew on my end, I always had the communication open for them to come to me. So I'm grateful that if I said something to hurt their feelings, or if I say something a certain way, I'm so grateful that they are open with their communication with me. I am grateful that I have opened up that form of communication where they know that they can come to me and talk to me about anything that's on their mind. Even if I did something wrong, talk to me about it. We gonna communicate. I don't always say things right. If I have an attitude or something they done irritate me, it might not come out right. My tone can be off a lot of times. It's something I'm still working on to this day. So if I said it wrong, tell me. Because 9 times out of 10, the way I said it in that moment, I may have meant what I said, but my tone didn't support what I truly meant. So let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful for that as well. But yeah, y'all. So I just wanted to touch on that because as parents, man, our kids are our concern and we worry about them. We know that we're gonna pray for them. We are gonna always pray for them and pray for their safety and anything that they have going on. But they're ours, and no matter how old they get, um, they'll be a concern of ours. If you guys have any coming out the closet tales that you would like to tell, again, I know I say this all the time, but I just want to remind you, it doesn't have to be anything serious. It can be something funny, lighthearted, whatever you want it to be. If you have anything that you would like to send in, please send it to the Monica Lecole Show at gmail.com, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And I thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, y'all.